Hello everyone, welcome to our studio today. So glad you dropped by, and if you haven't been keeping up with it, I want to show you what we've been working on. Actually we started this, I believe, about the 1st of September and have worked on it almost every day, not 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours, but at different times during the day. Anyhow, I'm glad you could join us today. I want to explain a couple of things to you about it. These panels are going to be actually fastened together. I'm going to pull this one up so you can see a little better sort of how they'll look. And we painted almost every person on here. Some of them might need a little touch up, but we'll do that during the week, not to bore you with it. And this one, of course, to me is the most important one because it's got Jesus on it. And we saved it till last. And we'll start painting it a little later in the show today, hopefully. Anyhow, I wanted to tell you one other thing about it. If you look at the painting, you're probably standing about where the camera is at. This road was a particular problem because it goes away from Jesus that way. Okay, if you come this way, it goes away from Jesus this way. That was a particular problem because perspective-wise, it's not true perspective, but it's eye perspective. In other words, I cheated a little bit on it. So I came through with the road going this way, and I changed it right in the middle or somewhere. You're almost looking straight at the stones on it. That way you're looking as they're going away from you. Anyhow, that was one particular problem. I want to tell you of another problem. One of the hardest things about this painting, when I first started sketching it, I started sketching, and I thought it was empty, so I added some more people to it. Actually, counting the little baby, there's 32 people here, plus Jesus, which makes it 33 altogether. But in painting them, the hardest thing about it was not sketching them, was not getting them on the canvas like I wanted to, because I had all this on my head, and getting that done, it was fun doing that. But when I started painting the people, I realized I've got a problem. If you're a painter, or if ladies like to dress pretty, you know, they like to have different garments on. Well, the hardest thing I found about the painting was what color to do the garments. I needed something like 32 different colors. Can you imagine that? If you're painting in portraits, no problem. You got one color shirt and vest or whatever, or coat. But when you got 30-some people, that's the problem. And I tell you what, I made Ruthie go through her closet, and we just picked out all different colors, and she helped me so much with it. Now I want to move the panels. Me standing here will give you a little idea of the size that this will be. It's almost 4 feet high. When I finish it, it'll be about 14 feet and 8 inches long, almost 15 feet long. Now I'm going to move some panels around and give you an idea of how they line up. And the road comes all the way through it. Now I'm going to move this panel right here now, and we'll be right back in a second, and I'll show you how it looks with another panel there. Okay, we're back now, and I want you to look at this panel. This is the third panel, and yes, as you can see, the road joins right up with it, and when we put it together, it'll be, and these two little people are talking to one another here. And Jim Edwards, the great cameraman that does all the filming of our show, noticed something that nobody else noticed about the painting. He said, you know, they all seem to be smiling, all seem to be happy. And that's one thing that I wanted to capture. And also that it is a live action. They're all doing something. They're all moving. They're live people actually doing something, you know. This little girl is fixing her sister's hair probably, you know. This one's putting a little baby down. Then an afterthought I had when I was painting it, I thought, well, maybe I should put something like a city in it. So this is an afterthought. I added this a little bit later, and this will continue on to the fourth panel. Now I'm going to move another panel, and then we'll come right back and I'll show you the other panel with this panel. Okay, we're back again now, and I wanted to show you the fourth panel. This is a special panel also, but as you can see, the little city continues on out here, and when we get it together, it'll line up with the road really good, and we'll fasten it all together, and it will hang at our little church building. We'll probably finish it up there later. I want to show you this one in particular. This is a scroll that we decided to put the scripture verse for the painting on there, which is Matthew 19:14. But Jesus said, "Suffer little children, and forbid them not to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." And one reason I painted this to start with is our little church and us, our little ministry is actually packing Christmas bags for needy children. And we're going to hang this up at the church so when people come in, they can see all the little children coming to Jesus. Now, the first thing we're going to do today, and I'll explain this to you, I may have told you before, I've been able to draw on and off all my life, and I've worked at it really hard, but I couldn't letter till I went to work at the telephone directory company. I learned to letter there, and later on was in the sign business. But anyhow, I want to show you a little bit about lettering today, and we'll be right back just in a minute. We'll set this panel over, and I'll sketch some letters, and I want to finish that and show you a little bit about lettering, but we'll be right back. Okay, we're back again, and I wanted to show you a couple of things. Now, painting portraits and oil paintings is a lot different than other type of work, and usually for other type of work then you use different brushes. For sign painting, for instance, my son was kind enough to bring over his sign kit for me to use, and we appreciate that so much, and we love you, son. And this little brush that I'm holding here is called a quill. It's a special sign painting brush, and it's to do work on smooth surfaces and to do lettering with, and you can make square corners, and you can do script with it or about anything else. Now I have another brush here that's used for sign painting. This is called a flat. It's a little wider than that, although you can get smaller ones also. But usually this is for a little bit larger work, and also for flat surfaces. You can cover a lot of ground with this one, and it's pretty long. It holds a lot of paint in it. Now the third brush I've got here, and I'm going to lay these down for a minute, is a funny looking little brush. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. This has a particular and a special use. If you ever saw hand-painted pinstripes on automobiles, this is a pinstriping brush. The advantage of it, of course, is you see how long the hairs are. You can hold a lot of paint with it. And you can take and hold your fingers on a little guideline and go right down the edge of a car and just pinstripe one little thin line all the way around the car with it. And you can go almost halfway, maybe farther on one load of paint with this. In some cases, the whole side of a car with it. Anyhow, that's a different brush also. Now, come on back, and we're going to do a little painting for you today. Come over to the canvas. As I told you, I couldn't letter, but I could draw. But I learned to letter from working in the trade. Now this is a quill, and that's what we're going to use here. Now I've saved a few of them here to show you how this quill works. We'll get a little paint out here. Now, what I'm doing right now, I'm flattening the brush out. I'm getting a good stroke on it. Once you do that, you can come up. Well, let's start over here at this T. And I can just pull that right down. Now I went ahead, to save some time, I went ahead and outlined them so I wouldn't have to take up a lot of your time, because we want to get to painting, some painting. But anyhow, now what I'm doing here, they call this hand over hand painting. Now I want to show you another method. I think Leonardo da Vinci might have invented this. This is called a maul stick. If you don't want to use your hand over hand, you can use a maul stick. You need something sort of to support your hand, because you're doing intricate work here. Then you need to be able to lay the brush down and pull it to exactly where you want it. And I'm flattening the brush out again now. By the way, one reason I chose this size brush, I usually choose a brush, if I was going to do a single stroke letter, like these down here, I would pick a brush that was that width, or close, as close to that as I could get it. This particular brush, you can do a thin and thick letter with it. That line right there, see, it's about the same thickness of my brush, so I can pull that line straight across. And then I can take 2 strokes, 1, 2, and pull the other part of the letter. I'm trying to get that little white line out of it. Maul stick does the same thing as a hand over hand. Some people prefer to just use a hand over hand. I like both methods, and I don't know if I have a preference or not. I also use a maul stick in oil painting to keep me off of the wet paint. And it also supports your hand and guides it a little bit. Okay, now that probably is enough lettering for today. I just wanted to show you that how you could letter. And canvas is a little hard to letter on because sometimes it's a little rough. But I made this a really good surface, as good as I could make it to letter on. I had to coat it about 3 times and then sand it in between times. But anyhow, that's the lettering today. We'll be right back in a minute, and we'll start painting on the portrait of Jesus. Hey, we're back again, and now we're going to start on something that I've been waiting to do this since 1st of September. This is one of the most important parts of the painting, and I pray and hope that I'll get it, where it looks pretty good. First of all, let's start out. Now I've got my colors here, and I've got a lot of different colors. I won't explain all of them, but anyhow, what I've done here, I'm going to grab a little of this color. I'm going to pull it over a little bit. Now I'm going to grab a little white. Now I'm going to put a little more of this color over here. That's a little darker color. Now, what I'm going to start with is a darker color, and I've got a little bit larger brush than what I need, really. But I like to work that way. I'm going to pull this up here. Okay. I'm going to start with a little bit darker color. Now, in doing portraits, a lot of people do them a lot of different ways, and it's just how you want to do them. Some people start with a light color, some with a dark. I'm going to start with not the darkest, but a dark color. And I'm going right down into the hair. And they call this, actually, if you technically, what I'm doing is scrubbing. And I'm getting some shadows there on the side of the nose. I'm going to get a little shadow under his eye. Now I'm going to go back and I'm pulling a little light line right through there. Now, what I could do, and I'll show you, I could just blend this out. You see, and I've still got my lines there, in other words. And that's usually a little dark area there on the nose. Put a little color on the ear. A little light color here. Okay, now, I'm going to paint the eye next. I want to get a little color in the eye. I'm going to lay that brush down and get a little bit smaller one. I'll move my quill right over there and the flat. I've got all kinds of little brushes here. It's got a little ugliness on it. And actually, I've got a whole can full of them here. I try to keep a whole bunch of them. Anyhow, I want this one right here because the eye is sort of small. Now, I may have told you this before, but when painting portraits, your eyes are not white. We think they are, but they're not. So I'm going to mix up a little color here that will appear, hopefully will appear white. Now that's a pretty nice color, but I like to add just a touch of blue to the eye. I hope I didn't get too much. I think I did. So let's wipe it out right there. Now, a lot of people like to add a gray to it, but I think I'm just going to start with the blue and add the gray. Your eye's got shadows in it too. A lot of times it's got some redness in it that you can see. Let's try that color and just see what it looks like. Okay, come over to the eye. I think I got it too light. That's okay, because what we'll do, when we shadow it, it'll probably tone it down somewhat. Now that looks totally white. But it's not white at all. Now you see I put a little white in there. I'm going to wipe that brush just a little bit. I need something a little smaller. I've got a beautiful brush here. It's got almost an inch bristle on it, which makes it great for small detail. Now I've got a little Payne's gray. I don't have any black. I'm trying to get just a little bit because I don't need much. Oops. That's pretty close. That might be a little light yet. Let's try a little of it and see. I'm going to dip it into the linseed oil. Now I just rolled it. Not dark enough. I didn't think it was. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. I like that color. I've got a little blue in it too. Now, I believe that's about the color I need. Let's try it and see. Wonderful thing about this, you can just keep adjusting your colors till you get it the way you want it. And you probably can't see it, but that is tinting it, but that's still not enough. One reason it's not enough is because I got my undercolor on there already, and it's picking that undercolor up. So I'll have to go darker than I normally would. A little more. That might do it. Let's try it and see. I love this brush. You can get detail that you wouldn't believe with it. That's pretty close to what I need. Let me do something here drastic. All right. Now this is a painting that we will not hurry on. We're going to take our time and do this, and hopefully we can finish it at the church building. Maybe we can get it all together to where you can see the whole painting. Okay, now that done it. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I hope you can. Yeah, that's done it. Now we might blend that a little later. First of all, I'm going to wash this brush out. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to work around the eye a little bit. I've got my darker color there. Now I'm just putting in my shadows a little bit heavier. They need to be a little darker than that. Okay, that's getting us just a start. Now right in the corner of the eye, There's usually some red. So we just put a little bit in there. Okay, and on the cheek, we're going to put red on there, but we'll do that later. Now I'm going to grab my small brush back up again. Not sure that that's light enough. Let's just try a spot of it and see. I'm just scrubbing a little color there, blending together a little bit. Oh, we got a couple of minutes left. I got to have a little darker color. Normally, what I do when I need that is let's grab a little of this burnt sienna here. Yeah, that's it. Now I'm mixing this right on the palette. I'm not bothering to mix a whole bunch of it. I think I'm going to make him sort of rosy, dark skin. I think he spent a lot of time out in the open preaching the gospel, so I'm just covering the canvas now. Need a little darker right in there. Got about a minute left, so let's put a little more color around the eye. I'm just adding color in here. We're going to blend all of that in. Hopefully. Okay, I guess we're going to have to go for today. But you know what? I've enjoyed this so much, and I hope you're enjoying it. Come back next week and be with us. We'll work a little bit more on our portrait. Anyhow, hope you have a great, great day. Goodbye and God bless. Hello everyone. Welcome to our studio today. If you've been following us, we've been working on a large painting. It's almost 15 feet long. And today we've been going to work on what I would consider one of the most important things on the whole painting. That's Jesus' picture. And we've had a little input into this about the hair and everything, and most people think that his hair was not long because that was not the custom back in that day. And I sort of agree with that. We've painted him both ways, but today we're going to paint him with sort of short hair, not long hair. Anyhow, let's get to work on it, okay? First of all, we've been working a little bit around the eyes, and I'm going to go a little bit more shadow, and I'm going to go a little darker with my shadows. And I'm going to go, I think he might have parted his hair in the middle. Not sure about that, but. And I'm going to run those tones up into the hair. So when we paint the hair, we can pull it down over them a little bit. And I'm just actually brushing it out in there a little bit. And another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to work all over the face, but right now I'm going to put some color in his ear. And there'll be some flesh color all along there, so I'm going to just paint some solid color in there. The hair will go over all of this wherever it needs to, okay? Now while I'm up in this area, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of color down here. Now the color I picked up is a little bit darker than what I had before. And this is much darker. I'm going to put a shadow in there and probably some highlights in it. And over here, one a little darker. And his hair will probably go over most of this. And I don't know if you can see my sketch under there, but I've got some strands of hair that's actually coming down over his neck in there. But we'll go ahead and paint that in. Now I went a little over the garment there. I may wipe that off. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but all the garments on here, there is none of them that are white. I thought I'd make Jesus' garment white. They didn't have any one-air cleaners back in the day. And the way they got white garments, they beat chalk into them. I guess that was the cleaners of the day. Now I normally put a lot of colors in a portrait, as you probably will see as we go along. All right, beautiful. Now I'm going to mix up a little lighter color. And I'm going to mix up a little darker color. If it's not light enough, we just reach over and pull some more color over. I'm going to mix that up. I'm going to put a little, just a touch of crimson with that. Okay, now one other color that I'm going to grab right here is Van Dyke Brown. And I'm going to mix just a touch of this. By the way, that's pre-mixed flesh color. It comes in a little tube. I normally mix it, but hey, I had it, so I thought I'd just use it. Okay. Working on the eyes. Get me a little clean brush. Grab a little bit of the thinner medium there. And I'm rolling the little brush out. By the way, the thinner is boiled linseed oil. Okay. Now I'm going to use a hand. Well, let me grab a maul stick. That way I won't get in it. I'm working sort of sideways here. This is not the ideal place to work on large panels. I want that to come down a little more. I'll have to, there you go. A little more. This is fun when you get to this point, and